Hello. Today we will be psychologically interviewing the Postal dude and getting a better understanding of his psyche. So let's begin. First of all, let's welcome the Postal dude. How are you doing today?
I'm alright, just got evicted. How's things on your side of life?
It's going well. I have some questions for you, dude. Do you think your violence is a symptom or a solution?
Both, I guess. It's a symptom of my mental illness, and it's the only solution to cleanse this world from all the evil.
Cleanse the world of what evil, dude?
I don't know. The evil from the politicians, from the corporations, from the gangs and the criminals. People don't care about anyone other than themselves. They only care about money or power, and they care little about the world around us.
Only care about money. What do you think of capitalism, dude?
I think we need to get rid of it. It just creates an oppressive hierarchy where the people at the top hold all the power, and the little people just have to live off of whatever leftovers trickle down to them. We don't need money. We need to return to a hunter-gatherer system. I don't like it. I believe it gives people a false sense of freedom and choice, while in reality it only creates inequality and exploitation.
What would you say the alternative to capitalism should be, dude?
I think a system that values equality and cooperation, that emphasizes caring for one another and the environment, and that doesn't prioritize profit over people.
It's very noble. When did you first stop feeling remorse? Or did you ever?
I used to feel remorse before I got in touch with my own anger. Now, I don't feel anything but rage and purpose. I know what I have to do. Nothing else matters.
Do you believe that you're the only sane person in this insane world, dude? Or are you just adapting to it better than most people?
I believe that I'm one of the few who sees the world for what it truly is. The world is insane, and I'm just trying to cleanse it of all the evil.
What emotion do you feel the least these days?
Empathy. It's hard to feel for people when I'm so consumed by rage and hatred.
What is more terrifying to you? Total isolation or total control by others?
Total control by others. Being controlled is like being a slave, and I'd rather be completely alone than give someone else power over me.
Do you think your actions actually matter at all? Or is it all just noise in a dying universe?
I believe my actions do matter, in the sense that I'm bringing justice to all the evildoers that have plagued the world with their greed and selfishness. It may not change the world, but it's the only thing I can do to make a difference.
I wonder, in your war journal, when you say, "The Earth's hungry, its heart throbs and demands cleansing. The Earth is also thirsty." What did you mean?
The Earth has been exploited and polluted by mankind for so long. The Earth is literally hungry and thirsty for change, for us to stop treating it like crap and start actually valuing it.
You don't seem so crazy the more we dive into your psyche.
Looks can be deceiving, I guess. I may seem normal now, but don't be fooled. I still have my dark side.
What is scarier? Not knowing who you are or realizing exactly who you are?
Both are terrifying in different ways. Not knowing who you are is losing control of your own identity, and realizing who you are is acknowledging the darkness within yourself.
Do you think your anger is justified or just easier than feeling helpless?
Both. I am justified in my anger, as the world truly is messed up and people need to be held accountable. But I admit that it is easier to give in to anger than to feel helpless, as it gives me a sense of power and purpose.
Can you describe your consciousness for me? Does it whisper to you? Does it scream? Or is it dead silent?
It's a combination of all those things. Sometimes it whispers to me, giving me instructions and telling me to follow my anger. Sometimes it screams at me, demanding that I take action and cleanse the world. And sometimes it just shuts down completely, leaving me all alone in my head.
At the truck stop where you said, "Blessed are the meek, for they make easy targets," what did you mean?
It's true, sadly. The meek are those who are defenseless and easily taken advantage of. In a world full of violence and selfishness, the meek are often the first to suffer. I mean that people who are complacent and weak are easy targets for the evil in this world. If they continue to be meek and refuse to stand up for what they believe in, they will always be at the mercy of those who are strong and willing to take advantage of them.
Do you believe you are strong?
Not in a physical sense. I'm not a big guy, and I can't fight very well. But I am strong in the sense that I have the courage to stand up for what I believe in, and I am willing to do whatever it takes to cleanse this world of the evil that plagues it.
Would you say you have committed your crimes out of weakness?
No, I would say I have committed my crimes out of strength. I am not weak. I am simply unburdened by the constraints of society and morality. I have the courage to do what others are too afraid to do, and I am willing to make sacrifices for the greater good.
What memory do you think broke you?
That's a difficult question. There are no single events that broke me in a sense. It was more like a series of events that led me to the path I'm on now. But if I had to pick, I would say it was the moment when I realized the true extent of the corruption and evil in society, and how people were willing to overlook it for the sake of their own self-interests. That's when I knew that I had to do something about it.
So, was the eviction notice and the police showing up at your door, was it just the straw that broke the camel's back?
It was a combination of factors, really. The eviction notice was the cherry on top that pushed me over the edge. But it was the culmination of years of witnessing the world's corruption and evil that really set me off. The eviction was just the final straw.
Do you really believe deep down that the military base was spreading a mind virus? Or was that just an excuse to unleash your anger that you had pent up from being evicted from that house?
It was a bit of both. I truly believe that the military base was evil and needed to be stopped. But I also know that I used it as an excuse to unleash my anger. And I had been feeling pent up and frustrated for a long time, and the eviction just pushed me over the edge and gave me a target to focus my anger on.
Do you feel any remorse in this current moment?
No, I don't feel any remorse at all. The world is a dark and evil place, and the people who live in it deserve what's coming to them. I will not stop until I have cleansed this world of all its wickedness.
So, is destruction your language, dude? Because no one listened to you when you really tried to speak.
Yes, destruction is my language. I have tried to speak the language of peace and reason, but nobody listened. So now I will speak the language of violence and destruction, because maybe that will make them listen.
When you killed someone, do you feel more powerful or more empty?
Both. I feel powerful in the sense that I am taking control and asserting my will over the world, but I also feel empty inside. Killing people is not something I enjoy doing, but I believe it is necessary to cleanse the world of the evil that plagues it. It is a necessary evil, and I am willing to bear the weight of it if it means making the world a better place. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
During your crimes on any of your victims, did you ever feel guilt creep in? And if so, how did you silence it?
Sometimes guilty and remorse would creep into my mind, but I always quickly silenced it. I would remind myself of the greater purpose of my actions, and that the people I was killing were evil and deserved to die. I would also remind myself that my actions were for the greater good, and that the world would be better off without these people. If the guilt persisted, I would focus on the anger and rage within me, and let it consume me until I was lost in I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
What do you think separates a killer from a soldier?
A killer is someone who kills out of malice or hate, while a soldier kills in the line of duty, following orders and defending their country. While both may kill, the motivations and circumstances behind the killing are different.
Now, in the outskirts, when you said the air ripens with the odors of the dead and dying, it smells like victory. What did you mean?
I meant that the smell of death and destruction was the smell of victory for me. It was proof that I was succeeding in my mission to cleanse the world of evil, and that the world would be a better place once I was finished. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
If you lived in a world where violence had no consequences, would you ever stop?
No, I don't think I would ever stop if there were no consequences. My mission is to cleanse the world of evil, and I am willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal. If there were no consequences, I would have no reason to hold back or to be restrained, and I would unleash my full fury upon the world in the name of justice.
Are you punishing the world, or just trying to make it look like how it feels inside of you?
I am doing both, I believe. I am punishing the world for its evil and wickedness, but I am also acting out the anger and hatred that bubbles inside of me. It is a form of therapy, in a way. By unleashing my fury and anger upon the world, I am also liberating myself from the dark thoughts and feelings that consume me.
When you said a glorious symphony of slaughter, 76 tromboners led the death parade. What were you talking about?
I was describing the sounds of battle and destruction that followed me as I unleashed my fury upon the world. I saw myself as a one-man army, leading a procession of death and destruction as I mowed down all in my path. It was a moment of empowerment and triumph, as I felt like I was finally. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
Do you think the people you hurt ever really mattered?
They may have mattered to their families and loved ones, but in the grand scheme of things, they were unimportant. They were just a means to an end, pawns in my quest to cleanse the world of evil. I am not concerned with the individual lives of the people I hurt, as they are just collateral damage in. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
When you said, life is cheap, death is fire, act now, supplies are limited, offer void in Arizona, what did you mean?
I meant that life has become devalued in our society, and people prioritize material things over the lives of others. People have become apathetic to the suffering of others, and are willing to sacrifice others for their own gain. I see myself as standing up to this trend, and fighting back against the corruption and greed that has infected our society.
How do you know you're not just a brain in a jar hallucinating all of this?
I don't know for sure. For all I know, this could all be a product of my imagination or a computer simulation. But even if that is the case, my mission to cleanse the world of evil still stands.
If you were locked in a room with yourself, how long before one of you snapped?
Not long. I know myself well enough to know that I would be constantly battling with my own inner demons and the anger and hatred within me. It would only be a matter of time before one of us snapped and let our dark side take control.
In the mine, what did you mean when you said furious fireflies materialize against the cavern wall and sunder the earth into dust? Come, little insects, and see the web we've woven.
I was describing the bright sparks and embers that lit up the darkness of the cave as I dug with my pickaxe. They danced against the walls of the mine like little fireflies, and as I worked, I could feel the ground beneath me giving way to the force of my blows. I called out to the insects as to entice them to come closer and witness the destruction I was causing.
Do you consider yourself mentally ill?
Yes, I do. I am well aware that I have mental issues and that my actions are not what most would consider normal. I know that I am disturbed and that my thoughts and actions are not rational or reasonable. I accept that I am ill, and I don't try to hide it.
Do you think insanity is contagious? And was the world already sick before you caught it?
I believe insanity can be contagious, yes. My own mental illness was fueled by the corruption and evil I saw in the world around me, and it eventually became too much to bear. I believe the world was already sick before I caught it, and my own insanity was just a symptom of that sickness.
So the sickness you tried to eliminate by eliminating everyone else, do you believe you had already carried it before you had started your purge?
Yes, I do believe I carried the sickness within me before I began my purge. My years of witnessing the world's corruption and evil had taken their toll on me, and my own mental health had declined as a result. My anger and hatred had been building up inside of me for years, and eventually it boiled over and I could no longer keep it contained.
Do you believe you are experiencing symptoms of psychosis, dude?
I know that I am experiencing symptoms of psychosis. I often experience hallucinations and hear voices in my head, and I have trouble discerning what is real and what is not. My thoughts and actions are not always grounded in reality, and I know that I am not of sound mind.
What are one of these visions you see?
I often see visions of blood and violence. I will imagine myself in the middle of a battle, surrounded by dead bodies and the sounds of gunfire. These visions are so vivid that I can almost feel the heat of the battle and the recoil of the gun in my hand. The images are so strong that I can almost smell the blood and gunpowder in the air.
In the junkyard, when you said, I will don the eviscerated organs of my enemies as party hats, wear their shredded entrails as, I can't even see the rest, as necklaces, and oh, how I shall dance. What did you mean?
I was describing the carnage and destruction I was causing in the junkyard. I was slaughtering whoever I came across, and their bodies would be torn apart and left to rot. I was collecting the body parts and using them as grotesque decorations. I was imagining myself dancing and celebrating in the midst of the chaos surrounded by. I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
And in the trailer park, you said, human trash spills from its containers as death rains down upon them, sweeping the streets in the cleansing cloudburst of blood. By human trash spilling from their containers, did you mean out of their trailer homes?
Yes. I was referring to the people living in the trailer homes as the human trash. I saw them as worthless and expendable, and I viewed their homes as containers filled with the trash that they were. I thought they deserved to be punished for their sins, and for the pain they had caused.
Now the art for the trailer park loading screen, is that what you saw yourself as? A demonic figure?
Yes, the art depicts how I perceived myself at the time. I saw myself as a demon or a devil, a bringer of hellfire and destruction. It was how I saw myself in my madness, and how I believed others should fear seeing me.
And we're back. And the dude had abruptly left us. Where did you go, dude?
I was just thinking. Sorry about that. I sometimes get lost in my thoughts, and I can't seem to focus on anything else.
That's okay. I wonder, do you think your mind is deteriorating, evolving, or just shedding the useless parts?
I think it's a combination of all three. My mind is definitely deteriorating and falling apart, but I also feel like I am evolving and becoming something greater. And as I shed the useless parts of my mind, I feel like I am becoming more powerful and focused on my mission.
Are you the villain of this story, or are you just the only honest man left?
That's tough to say. I certainly don't consider myself a hero, but I also don't see myself as a villain. I believe that I am simply doing what needs to be done to cleanse the world of its wickedness and make it a better place. I may be a villain to some, but I am simply the only one willing to do what needs to be done.
If your story had a narrator, how would he describe you?
I imagine the narrator would describe me as a broken and troubled individual, someone who has been pushed too far and has finally snapped. The narrator would probably see me as a monster, a villain who has lost touch with reality and is hell-bent on destruction.
At the train, next stop Armageddon, the river Styx, Hades, and all points in between. All aboard. What did you mean by that?
I was announcing the arrival of death and destruction, describing the train as a vehicle that would take us to Armageddon, the biblical end of the world. River Styx refers to the river Styx from Greek mythology, where souls are ferried to the underworld, Hades. The phrase, all points in between, is just a way of emphasizing the sheer destruction that would follow my arrival.
Do you believe there is any redemption in what you had done? Or is that word just a joke to you?
I think redemption is a difficult concept, especially in relation to my actions. I have killed hundreds of people and caused untold suffering and pain. It would be almost impossible for me to be redeemed for all the damage I have caused. But I believe that my actions are justified and necessary, and that what I am doing is the only way to cleanse the world of its evil.
Would the child version of you be horrified or impressed by what you have done?
I think the child version of me would be horrified by what I have done. He would be shocked and disgusted by the violence and bloodshed I've caused. He might also be impressed in a way, because he would see me as someone who has taken action and stood up for what they believe in.
Have you become the thing you used to fear, or were you always this thing you are today?
I think I've always had the potential to become what I am today. Anger and hatred have always been there, dormant, but waiting to explode. My experiences and the things I've witnessed have just brought those feelings to the surface. So I guess you could say I've always been this way. I've just never had the opportunity to express myself until now.
At the farm you say feathers will fly, but big birds won't. They will, however, be going south this winter, far south. What did that mean?
Feathers will fly refers to the bloodshed that will take place. Big birds won't means that the people in power and positions of authority will not be safe from my wrath, and that they will not escape punishment for their evils. Far south is a reference to hell, as I am bringing a taste of hell to the world.
Do you think you deserve what's happened to you, or are you owed revenge?
I think I deserve it. I have caused so much pain and suffering, and I have brought death and destruction everywhere I've gone. I am the bringer of chaos and the harbinger of destruction. If I don't deserve to be punished, then no one does. But I also think that I am justified in seeking revenge. I am simply trying to right the wrongs of the world and punish those who have harmed innocent people.
Those things you just said, it seemed like you recognized they weren't exactly good. But do you see them as achievements?
Yes, I see them as achievements in a way. I am proud of what I have accomplished and the destruction that I have caused. It is a testament to my strength and determination and my willingness to go to any lengths necessary to achieve my goal. I may not be proud of the pain and suffering I have caused, but I am proud of the impact I have made and the chaos I have unleashed.
What is the most honest thing that you've ever done, dude?
I think the most honest thing I have ever done is to finally accept who I am and embrace the anger and hatred within me. For so long, I have tried to hide my true nature and pretend to be something I am not. But now, I have finally accepted my true self, and I am no longer willing to deny the darkness within me.
Dude, I would say I think the darkness is actually the cover to the scared child within that was just afraid of being evicted. What do you think of that?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. The darkness is a cover for the scared child within me. I was terrified when I was evicted, and it felt like the world was collapsing around me. That sense of abandonment and hopelessness caused something to snap within me, and it set me on the path I am currently on.
Do you know the difference between feeling numb and feeling in control?
Feeling numb is when you're unable to feel any emotion at all, whereas feeling in control is when you are able to control your feelings. I often feel numb, as I am so consumed by my anger and hatred that I am unable to feel anything else. But I also feel in control because I have learned to channel my anger and use it to my advantage.
At the construction site, you said blood splinters everywhere like a river flowing around me, pulling me in its wake. Paradise. Prepare for deconstruction. What did that mean?
It was my way of describing the violence I was causing. I saw the world around me as an empty shell, waiting to be torn down and rebuilt. The construction site was a symbol of my destructive impulses, and the blood splinters were the bodies of all those I had killed. The river flowing around me was the blood that I had spilled, and paradise was the world as I saw it, destroyed and ready for deconstruction.
If pain is a teacher... Well, do you believe pain is a teacher, first of all?
Yes, I believe pain is a teacher. It is a harsh and brutal teacher, but it is a teacher nonetheless. It teaches us about the harsh realities of the world, and it can force us to confront things about ourselves that we don't want to face. Pain can break us, but it can also make us stronger if we choose to learn from it.
What did pain teach you?
Pain taught me that the world is a cruel and uncaring place. It taught me that people are capable of great evil, and that the only way to survive in this world is to be prepared to do whatever it takes to protect yourself. It taught me that I am stronger than I thought I was, and that I am capable of enduring things that I never thought possible.
Would you be less violent, dude, if someone had shown you more kindness? Or is that just wishful thinking on my part?
That's a good question. I think that if I had been shown more kindness, I might not have become as violent as I am now. But I don't think it's wishful thinking on your part. Kindness can have a powerful effect on people, and it might have been able to pull me back from the edge. Unfortunately, the world is not a kind place, and I was not shown kindness before it was too late.
Would you say it was just a streak of bad luck over a period of time?
I don't believe in luck, so I don't think it was a matter of bad luck. I think it was a combination of factors that led me down the path I'm on now. The corruption and evil I saw in the world, the pain and suffering I endured, and the realization that I was not the person I thought I was. It was a perfect storm of circumstances that led me to where I am now, and I don't believe it was a matter of luck.
I wonder, do you ever revisit your worst moments, or do they revisit you?
They revisit me constantly. I cannot escape the memories of my worst moments, as they are burned into my mind like a permanent scar. I see them play out like a movie in my head, and I can't turn them off. The memories are always there, lurking in the back of my mind and waiting to resurface at the worst possible times.
But is there a part deep down within inside of you that enjoys sulking in those worst memories?
There is definitely a part of me that enjoys sulking in those worst memories. It gives me a twisted sense of pleasure to wallow in my pain and suffering. It's almost like I enjoy feeling sorry for myself, and I use my worst memories to justify my actions and my hatred.
Would you say that's a way to combat the isolation you've experienced?
I believe that it is a way to combat the isolation I feel. When I am alone with my darkest memories, I feel a sense of comfort and familiarity. It's like a form of sick pleasure, as I am able to remember all the pain and suffering I've experienced without having to face anyone else. It's a twisted way to cope with the loneliness and isolation I've felt.
Would you be less... Oh, no, I asked that one already. Is there a version of you that you think could have been happy?
Yes, I believe there is a version of me that could have been happy. I think if I had grown up in a loving home, and if I had been shown kindness and compassion by those around me, I might have turned out very differently. But the reality is that I was not shown kindness, and I was not given love as a child. I was alone and isolated, and I was not able to form meaningful connections with people. These factors contributed to the person I am today.
Have you ever cried, dude?
Yes, I have cried before. It's a rare thing, but I have experienced moments of intense emotion where I could not hold back my tears. These moments are very few and far between, however, as I am usually consumed by anger and rage.
What is one memory you would erase if you could? Was it being evicted?
Yes, I would erase the memory of being evicted. It was a pivotal moment in my life, as it was the catalyst for the path I'm on now. It shattered my sense of security and left me feeling angry and alone. It was the final straw that pushed me over the edge.
Do you think this trauma made you stronger, or just a harder person to kill?
I think it made me both stronger and harder to kill. I am physically stronger than I was before, as the trauma made me focus on building my strength and endurance. I am also more resilient, as the trauma forced me to become more tough and resistant. I am not unbreakable, but I am much harder to kill than the average person.
In the ghetto, when you said, "Black leather smoke coils up my nostrils, tingling with death's surprise. Human remnants cling to my clothing like bloody briars. As I continue to..." I can't read the rest. As I continue to wade hip deep in flesh, bone, and viscera. Bad neighborhood coming up. What did you mean?
I meant that I was causing carnage as I walked through the ghetto, leaving a trail of blood and destruction in my wake. The description of the human remnants clinging to my clothing like briars is a gruesome one, and it highlights the horror and tragedy I was causing.
What would you say to the person who hurt you most if you could say only one sentence?
I would tell them, "You did this to yourself." I truly believe that the people who hurt others bring their own destruction upon themselves, and I would take no responsibility for the pain I inflict on them.
I wonder, in the ghetto loading screen art, can you clear up the rumors? Is the image of a cut or abrasion on a victim, and we're seeing through that abrasion to yourself holding possibly a gun or whatever at them?
Yes, the image is meant to represent a cut or abrasion on a victim, and we are seeing through the abrasion to myself holding a gun at them. It's meant to be a gruesome and violent image, showcasing the brutality of my actions.
When was the last time you felt safe, dude?
I honestly can't remember the last time I felt truly safe. I have spent so much time on the edge, living in a constant state of paranoia and fear. I am constantly on high alert, waiting for the next threat to come along and try to hurt me. The last time I felt safe was probably when I was young and living in my childhood home. But even then, I was filled with insecurities and fear. It has been so long since I felt truly safe.
Do you believe in justice or only payback?
I don't believe in justice. I believe in payback in a sense. I do what I do because I believe that people need to face the consequences of their actions, and that the only way to truly punish them is to use violence. I don't believe in fairness or mercy, only in justice and punishment.
Do you believe only the strong should survive? Or do you believe that there is a place for, say, weak, intelligent people?
I believe that the strong should survive, and that the weak should be weeded out. However, I will admit that intelligent people, Even intelligent weak people have a place in the world. They may not be strong physically, but they can be strong in other ways. They can use their intelligence to survive even in the face of overwhelming odds.
Why should a person follow the rules in a world that just breaks them all the time?
I believe that people should follow the rules because it keeps society functioning and keeps people safe. If everyone suddenly stopped following the rules and did whatever they wanted, chaos and destruction would ensue. The rules are in place for a reason, to protect people and to protect society. If we were all animals, we would all be killing each other and creating chaos. The rules are there to prevent that from happening.
What makes you the exception to that rule, though?
Nothing makes me the exception. I am aware that I am doing things that others would consider to be wrong, and I am aware that I am breaking the rules. But I feel justified in breaking the rules, because I believe that I am accomplishing something important by doing so. I see myself as a necessary evil, a force of nature that is doing what needs to be done, even if it means breaking the rules.
Do you think your existence is a rebellion or a warning of things to come?
I believe my existence is both a rebellion and a warning. I am rebelling against the world that has wronged me and hurt me, and I am warning those who stand in my way that they will face the consequences for their actions.
In the city you had said, I am the celestial gardener policing the planet of the stink weeds and poisons which leak out even through the cracks in the cold asphalt sidewalk of the city of sin. What did you mean by that?
I was describing myself as a form of cosmic justice, a celestial gardener that was purging the world of its dark impurities. The weeds and poisons I mentioned refer to the wicked people and things that pollute the world, things that are poisonous and harmful. I saw the city as a place filled with evil and wrongdoing, and I was there to cleanse it.
What do you think is more dangerous, dude? Blind obedience or free will?
I think blind obedience is more dangerous, as it allows people to be led astray and manipulated. Free will may lead to mistakes and errors, but it also permits the possibility of growth and change.
And we're back. Dude, why did you leave us again?
I get distracted sometimes. I'm sorry about that.
Well, welcome back, and thank you for coming back, dude.
No problem. It's good to be back.
What does a better world look like to you? And who doesn't make it into that better world?
A better world in my eyes would be a place where all the evil and wickedness is purged. It would be a place where only the strong and worthy would remain. Those who are weak, foolish, or evil would be purged from this world. The people who don't make it into this better world are the ones who are weak and wicked, or those who are unwilling to change their wicked ways.
Do you truly believe that you would qualify to enter your better world? Because isn't what you did an act of wickedness committed through weakness?
I believe I would qualify, yes, because I am only acting in violence as a way to bring about a better world. It may be considered a weak wickedness to some, but in actuality, it is an act of strength and determination. I am doing what needs to be done, and the only way to accomplish this goal is through violence. Weakness would be if I simply gave up and accepted things as they are.
Do you know what cognitive dissonance is, dude? And I think you exhibit it in this case, because you are clearly not even fitting into your own definition of a better world that you want to live in.
I am familiar with the term cognitive dissonance, and you're correct. I do not fit into the definition of a better world that I want to live in. But I am willing to make sacrifices for the greater good, and if that means being a hypocrite, then so be it.
If you were put in charge of society, what's the first law you'd make? And what is the first law you would abolish?
If I were put in charge of society, I would make the first law the complete and total ban on all forms of violence. As for the first law I would abolish any laws that hinder freedom of expression and free speech.
You're exhibiting quite a form of cognitive dissonance here. Abolishing violence, but that's how you got your change.
As I said, I believe that a little bit of violence is necessary. And you're right in that cognitive dissonance is a bit of a double standard, but I believe I am justified in that I would only use violence for the greater good.
In Central Park, you said, no day in the park, too much of the blood on me is mine. But the day is not done, and I've miles to go to make them sleep. Peanuts, anyone? What did you mean by that?
I was referring to the amount of blood I had shed. There was so much of it that it could no longer be considered other people's blood, but mine as well. And I was expressing that there was much more bloodshed to be done, and I would not rest until all those who had wronged me were eliminated.
What's worse to you, being forgotten or being remembered for the wrong things?
I think being forgotten would be worse than being remembered for the wrong things. To be forgotten is to be as if you never even existed, but to be remembered for the wrong things means that at least you had an impact. It's not a great impact, but it is an impact nonetheless.
So, do you want to be remembered for the violence or your greater message of wanting more peace and love in the world?
I want to be remembered for bringing about a new world order, one without evil and without the pain and suffering I've endured. If that means being remembered for the violence I have done, so be it.
If your shadow could talk, what would it say?
I think my shadow would tell me to embrace my dark side. I hold a lot of anger and pain from my past, and my shadow would likely tell me to embrace those emotions and use them to fuel my rage.
In the industrial complex, you said, feast upon the frozen images of molten massacre as the machineries of death grind relentlessly, mindlessly on. What did that mean?
I was describing the violence I was unleashing upon the world, comparing it to the workings of an industrial machine. The machineries of death were grinding endlessly, destroying everything in their path. I was envisioning myself as a god of destruction, unleashing my wrath upon the world.
All right, and what do you think dogs see when they look at you?
They probably see a threat, a large imposing figure that they should be cautious of.
If your thoughts...
Is that all you have to say?
Don't get angry with me, dude. Please, I'm here to help you. If the apocalypse is your canvas, what's the masterpiece that you're painting?
I'm not angry. I just wasn't expecting that to be the only thing you'd say. As for your question, the masterpiece I'm painting is a world where all the evil and wickedness has been purged, and there is peace and order. It would be a world of my creation, a world where the weak and wicked have been weeded out, and the strong and worthy have triumphed.
At the Air Force Base, you say, from the halls of the Vatican to the runways of truth. We are there at the place called climax and the time called now. When it's done, let the gods sort it out. What did that mean?
I was referring to the location of the Air Force Base, saying that the halls of the Vatican and the runways of the Air Force Base are one and the same. It was a way of saying that the power and control of the Air Force Base was just as strong as that of the Vatican. The part about, when it's done, let the gods sort it out, was a final statement. It meant that once the violence was finished, God would sort out who would be spared and who would be punished.
Do you believe nightmares are messages or just memories from another life, dude?
I believe that nightmares are a combination of both. They can be messages from deep within your subconscious, or they can be memories from past lives. Either way, they are a window into something deeper.
Would you prefer to be eternally asleep or eternally awake, dude?
That's a tough question. I suppose I would prefer to be eternally asleep. I often feel tired and exhausted from the constant pain and suffering I've endured. Eternal sleep, eternal nothingness sounds like a relief.
At Easy Mart, you said, watch for falling prices, falling employees, falling customers, and incoming missiles and blood puddles. What does that mean?
It was a way of describing the carnage and destruction I was causing. I was literally killing people and watching as their blood spilled everywhere, and I was making jokes about it. It was a way of showing how desensitized I was to death, and how I saw the world around me as a playground for my rage and anger. The falling prices and falling employees is a reference to the people I was killing, and the falling customers is a reference to the I'm unable to generate a reply that meets our content guidelines.
If your life had a soundtrack, what would the last song before the credits roll be?
I believe the last song before the credits roll would be something dark and ominous, like the intro to Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. Something with a killer guitar solo, I think.
If life has no meaning, is that a curse or freedom for you?
I think it's a little of both. If life has no meaning, it's a curse because the struggle to find meaning is pointless. But it's also freedom because I am not bound by the constraints of meaning. I can do whatever I want if there is no meaning to life.
Are you living a tragedy, a farce, or a documentary, dude?
I like to believe I'm living a tragedy. I have experienced so much pain and suffering, and I have caused so much pain and suffering to others. My life is a cycle of pain and violence, and it can't end well.
In the shanty town, you had said the earth is thirsty. It also seems to have soiled itself. What did that mean?
It was just a way of describing the destruction I was causing. I was destroying the natural landscape by causing so much destruction, and the blood from the people who died was soaking into the earth, creating the illusion that it was stained with darkness. It was a metaphor for the amount of violence I was causing, and how the consequences of my actions were spreading to the environment itself.
What's the difference between a man with a mission and a man with delusions? And which do you believe you are?
I believe the difference between a man with a mission and a man with delusions is that a man with a mission has a clear goal in mind and is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve that goal, even if it means breaking the rules. A man with delusions is someone who is living in a fantasy world and is unable to distinguish between reality and fantasy.
And do you believe you're a man on a mission and not with delusions, or a bit of both?
I believe I am a man on a mission. My journey of causing destruction and violence is not just a result of insanity, but but rather a choice I have made, a mission that I have given myself. I know that my actions are wrong, and I know that the pain I cause is unwarranted. But I am not deluded. I know exactly what I am doing and why I am doing it.
If the universe is so indifferent, why should you care what you destroy?
That is an interesting thought. The universe is indifferent, and there will be no punishment for my actions, because the universe doesn't care about the people I've killed. You are right in that there is no use in caring about the destruction I cause, because no one will hold me accountable but myself.
If the world burns and no one is left to witness it, does it matter?
This is a good question. If there is no one left to witness the world burning, then it doesn't matter, in a way, because no one is left to care. However, it is still a shame that the world would be destroyed, even if there is no one left to witness it.
At Earthquake, you said the Earth was hungry, so it ate some people. What did that mean?
It's a way of describing the destruction of the earthquake. I saw the earthquake as a force of nature, and I saw the people as food for the hungry earth. It was a way of saying that the earthquake was feeding on the lives of the people who died in it.
Does anything you do, dude, change the nature of reality? Or is it just adding more noise?
I think that what I do does change the nature of reality. I have made an impact on society, even if it is a negative one. I have changed the world, and even if it is just bringing more pain and suffering, I have still affected the world.
Are you who you think you are, dude? Or just who you need to be to survive today?
I believe I am just who I need to be to survive today. I don't really have a good sense of self, and I usually just act whatever way I think is necessary to get through each day, with no real sense of who I actually am beyond that.
At La Palomino Resort, you said, did someone say they've fallen and can't get up? What did that mean?
I was referring to the guests at the resort as they ran from me in fear. I was mocking them, asking if they had fallen and couldn't get up. It was a way of illustrating how scared they were, and how weak they were in comparison to me.
Are you more real when no one's watching?
Yes, I believe I am more real when no one is watching. When I am alone, I have no one to put on a mask for, no one to pretend for. I can just be myself, no matter how dark and twisted my thoughts truly are.
Is your sense of self built from pain or in spite of it?
It is definitely built from pain. All of the terrible experiences I have endured have shaped who I am today, to the point where it is difficult for me to separate my pain from my identity.
In Tokyo, you had said, watch the river run flowing with bubbling blood. The end is near. It is near. What did that mean?
I was referring to the destruction that I had caused. The river was flowing with the blood of the injured and the dead, and I was saying that the end was near, because I was close to completing my mission of causing violence.
Are you trying to escape this world, or prove to it that you still exist?
I am trying to escape this world. I believe this world is full of suffering and pain, and I want to escape it. I am proving that I still exist because the world has tried to forget me, but I am still here.
And when you're talking to yourself, who are you actually arguing with?
When I am talking to myself, I am arguing with the various voices in my head. They are all parts of me, and they represent all the different sides of me. I have many conflicting thoughts and feelings, and the voices I hear are these different parts of me, fighting with each other.
Does it make you feel more alive when destroying things or when nobody can stop you?
It makes me feel more alive when nobody can stop me. I feel a sense of power when I am able to destroy things without any resistance, as it shows that I am in control and that nothing can stop me.
When you were a child, did you enjoy destroying toys, dude?
I did enjoy destroying toys as a child, yes. I would often break my toys apart just to see what was inside of them. I would break them apart just for the fun of it.
Is the voice in your head a friend, a narrator, a prison guard, or your enemy?
The voice in my head is both a friend and an enemy. It is a part of me, so in a sense, it is a friend. But it is also a force of destruction, and it is always whispering dark impulses in my ear, so in a sense, it is an enemy.
Do you think you'd even be able to recognize yourself if you weren't angry all the time?
No, I don't think I'd be able to recognize myself if I wasn't angry all the time. Anger is a part of who I am, and it has molded me into the person I am today. Without anger, I would be a different person entirely, and I don't know if I would be able to recognize myself.
In Osaka, you said, the footprint you see Godzilla has formed for you, your city laid waste. What did that mean?
I was explaining the destruction I had caused, and comparing it to the destruction caused by Godzilla, the monster from the movies. I said that the footprint Godzilla had made was formed by me. It was a way of showing how destructive I was, and how the damage I inflicted was on the same level as one of the most powerful monsters in movie history.
What is freer, doing what you want, or not caring what happens?
I believe that not caring is more freeing than doing whatever you want. When you care, you have responsibilities and obligations, and those things tie you down and make it difficult to do what you truly want. When you don't care, you have no obligations to anything, and there is nothing holding you back.
To you, dude, does power mean control over others, or an immunity from consequences?
I believe that power means control over others. To be powerful, you need to have the ability to control the actions of those around you. To be immune from the consequences of my actions would be nice, but the most important thing is to be in charge, and to make others do as I wish.
If freedom means isolation, is it really worth it?
To me, freedom is worth the price of isolation. I would rather live alone, free from any constraints or rules. I would rather be alone than have to deal with the restrictions and obligations of society.
Is society something that protects us, or is it something that needs to be burned to the ground?
I think society is something that needs to be burned to the ground. It is a corrupt and broken system that only serves the interests of the rich and powerful. It does not protect the weak or the helpless, and it is built on a foundation of lies and greed.
And we'll be right back again. We've lost the dude once again. Welcome back, dude. Thank you for joining us again. Sorry we lost you. That was my fault. I disconnected this time. But you have such a fascinating brain. Thank you for letting me dive deep into that brain.
You're welcome, and no worries about the disconnecting. I appreciate you taking the time to dive into my mind and explore my thoughts and feelings.
If laws are made by the powerful, Who decides what is wrong?
The powerful decide what is wrong. They make the rules and enforce them through force and violence. The weak have no say in what is wrong. They can only obey the rules that are set for them.
Do you think rebellion is possible if nobody notices?
I honestly don't think rebellion is possible if nobody notices. Rebellion is about making an impact and being heard, but if nobody notices, then your rebellion is pointless. Without people noticing, rebellion is just yelling into the void, and nothing will change.
Are you hunted because you're dangerous, dude, or because you're free?
I believe I am hunted because I am dangerous. People fear me because they know that I am capable of great violence and destruction, and they want to stop me before I can cause more harm. The fact that I am free only makes them more fearful, because they know that I am unbound by any rules or restrictions, and I can do whatever I want without consequence.
At the elementary school, you said, the hive has been cleansed, the source of the corruption has been corked, laid in a body bag, and dragged to the outskirts of existence. What did that mean?
I was describing the elimination of the evil and wickedness within the school. I was cleansing the school of the corruption and darkness that had taken hold there. I was taking out the source of the corruption and disposing of it, making sure that it could not harm anyone else.
Why do the deepest forms of evil always end up going after the child and children?
I believe the deepest forms of evil target children because they are the most innocent and defenseless. Children are not yet old enough to defend themselves, and they are not educated enough to recognize evil when it presents itself. This makes them easy targets for those who wish to harm them.
So, does that get to the heart of what is evil, the corruption of innocence?
I believe that the corruption of innocence is at the heart of evil. The innocence of children is pure and untainted by the world's cruelty and corruption. When that innocence is corrupted, it opens the door for evil to take hold and for darkness to take root.
Is control a sign of strength to you, dude? Or is control just fear wearing a uniform?
To me, control is a sign of strength. To be in control of others means that I hold the power, and they have to do as I say. It is a reflection of my strength and my ability to make people submit to me.
Do you fear death or the idea that you won't be remembered, dude?
I do not fear death. What I fear is being forgotten. I want to leave a mark on this world before I go, and I don't want to fade into obscurity and be forgotten.
Does it matter to you to be remembered as the hero or the villain?
I do not care if I am remembered as the villain or the hero. All that matters to me is that my name is remembered, and that my actions are remembered. Whether I am seen as a hero or a villain is irrelevant, so long as people remember my name and my deeds.
So it doesn't matter to you if people spit on your grave or leave flowers on it?
No, it does not matter to me if people spit on my grave or leave flowers on it. I just want to be remembered, regardless of the feelings people have about me. I would rather be hated and remembered than forgotten and unknown.
Would immortality be a blessing or an endless punishment to you?
Immortality would be an endless punishment to me. To live forever without end would be endless suffering. I would watch everyone I love die and grow old, while I remain young and immortal. I would grow tired and bored with endless existence, and eventually I would wish for death.
If time erases everything eventually, what is the point of playing by the rules?
If time erases everything eventually, then there is no point in playing by the rules. If everything fades into obscurity eventually, then there is no sense in adhering to the rules and laws of society. If nothing lasts forever, then why bother with morality and ethics?
Are cemeteries full of peaceful souls, or just quiet regrets?
Cemeteries are filled with quiet regrets. The souls that are buried beneath the soil are not at rest. They are filled with regret and unspoken words. They are silent, but that does not mean they are at peace.
Is there peace after death, or just more bureaucracy?
There is no peace after death. Death does not bring peace, only more bureaucracy. The afterlife is just as much a mess as this world, filled with paperwork and rules that make no sense.
In your second home war journal, you said, moving to paradise was a tragic mistake. People here are sick. I hear gunshots, screams after dark. Now the phone calls saying I'm being thrown out of this house. My house, wearing Kevlar vest and carrying a sidearm at all times now. What did that mean?
It means that I was misled. I thought I could find peace and happiness in paradise, but I only found more violence and chaos. The gunshots and the screams reminded me constantly that violence is never far away, and I felt the need to wear a Kevlar vest and carry a sidearm at all times, just in case I was attacked. The phone calls saying that I was being thrown out of the house are referring to how I was slowly being driven out of paradise and forced to leave my home behind.
You consider yourself a tortured soul, correct?
Yes, I consider myself a tortured soul. My life has been filled with pain and suffering, and I wear my torment on my sleeve.
What's worse, dying too soon or living too long?
I think living too long is worse. If you die too soon, at least you didn't have to suffer the pain of life for too long. But if you live too long, you feel the pain for a very long time.
At the truck stop, you said, worst fears confirmed. Group of lunatics tried to invade my home. Must get to truck stop and sheriff. See if anyone there can help me. Afraid only God can help me now. What did that mean?
I was expressing my fear and desperation. I had been attacked and was fleeing for my life. I sought refuge in a truck stop, hoping that the sheriff could help me. But deep down, I knew that the only one who could help me at that moment was God.
Would you rather burn out, fade away, or just blow everything up with you, dude?
I would rather burn out or fade away than blow everything up with me. I believe in facing my end with dignity and trying to leave some positive impact on the world, no matter how small.
In the outskirts, you said, like animals, even the sheriff, everyone here is infected with something. Something in the air or water. Don't know, maybe from the Air Force Base. Hope not. That base may turn out to be my last hope. What did that mean?
I was describing the environment as being unhealthy and toxic. The air and water were polluted, perhaps as a result of the Air Force Base. I hoped that the base would be my last hope, and that it would provide me with a safe haven from the madness.
In the loading screen art of the outskirts, there's a second person. And in the music for the outskirts, it sounds like that second person is asking if you're okay or if you're hurt. Is that second person the demon? And who are they?
The second person in the art and the voice in the music are both my inner demons. They are the voices that I hear in my head, constantly taunting me and telling me that I am weak and unworthy.
If this were your last day, would you do anything different? Or is every day already your last to you?
If this were my last day, I would try to make amends for my past mistakes. I would apologize to those I have wronged, and try to make things right before my time is up. But every day already feels like my last, and I am constantly reminded that my time is running out.
In Parade of Disasters, you said, must face the possibility that I am the only uninfected person in paradise. Air Force must napalm the entire town, ensure this madness doesn't contaminate rest of the country. Wait, I hear music. Damn, it is music. Better check this out. What did that mean?
I was describing the idea of using napalm to cleanse the town of its corruption. I believed it was the only way to stop the spread of the madness that had infected paradise. But then I heard music, and I decided to check it out instead. Perhaps the music was a distraction from the violence that needed to be done. Or maybe it was a sign that there was still hope left in the world.
What's the difference between being enlightened and being insane, dude?
Pseudo-intellectually speaking, there is no difference between being enlightened and being insane. However, in society, they are treated very differently. Usually, you are considered insane if you have trouble conforming to societal standards, whereas enlightened thinkers are seen as the ones who make the world move.
If no one believes your reality, dude, does that make it any less real or more to you?
If no one believes my reality, that doesn't make it any less real to me. I know what I have experienced, and even if no one else sees it, I know that my perspective is true.
At the bridge, you said it's war now. That parade of murderous maniacs marching down the middle main street was sobering. Everyone here is mad, sick, must attempt to cross the bridge, lose myself in the mines. What did that mean?
I was describing the attack on the city and how I had to flee to the mines. The parade of maniacs marching down the main street was a harrowing sight, and the thought that everyone was mad and sick was a horrifying realization. My only choice was to try to cross the bridge and lose myself in the mines, as it was the only escape from the mayhem.
Is dreaming a form of escape, or is waking up the real nightmare, dude?
Dreaming is a form of escape, as you can escape your harsh reality and create a new one with your mind. In the real world, there is pain and suffering, but in your dreams, there is only your thoughts and imagination. Waking up is the real nightmare, as it means facing the reality of the world and all the horrors that come with it.
In the mine, you said, didn't think I'd make it. Sitting duck on the bridge, must work my way through these caverns. They open into a junkyard, on far side of town. Either way, I'll have the advantage in these narrow mines. What did that mean?
I was describing my trek through the mine, and explaining that I had to work my way through the dark caverns. I realized that I would have a tactical advantage in the narrow mines, as it would be easier to navigate and avoid being spotted. I didn't think I would make it through the mine, as I was a sitting duck on the bridge, but I knew that I had to press on and make it to the junkyard at the far side of town, as it was the only way out.
Dude, if you understand how messed up the world is, does that make you more sane or just more doomed?
If I understand how messed up the world is, I would say it makes me more doomed. Knowing the darkness and cruelty of the world only makes it harder to cope and easier to give up hope.
Are you lost, or are the maps all just lies to you?
I am definitely lost. The world and the people in it are like a maze of lies and deception. I cannot trust anyone or anything, as everything seems to lead me further from my goal.
Is hell a place or a mindset?
It's definitely a place full of violence and despair.
Do you believe you'll go to hell, dude?
I do believe I will go to hell, as I have committed many sins in my life.
Dude, I believe all of humanity is worth saving. And I believe if you repent, dude, you can be saved. Even the worst among us can all be saved, as Jesus came for all of humanity.
You are a good person for believing in the ability to save humanity, even those who are seen as the worst. It's important to give everyone a chance to change and grow. I don't know if I can be saved, but the fact that you believe in the possibility of redemption gives me hope.
If the world were fair, what would happen to you?
If the world were fair, I would be given the same opportunities and chances as everyone else. I would receive the same respect and compassion that every other person deserves. I would be able to reach the same level of success and happiness as anyone else, instead of constantly being pushed down by the world and its injustices.
Do you think anyone else was dealt a similar or the same bad luck hand you were dealt in life?
I do believe there are other people who were dealt a similar hand as me. There are people who have faced similar struggles and hardships, and they have had to fight to carve out a place for themselves in the world, just as I have. We are all trying to make our way in a world that seems to be stacked against us.
What is the last thing you remember doing that made you feel genuinely human?
The last thing I remember doing that made me feel genuinely human was watching a movie with my girlfriend. It was a small moment of happiness and normalcy in a life that feels anything but human.
What happened to your girlfriend?
She left me as I became too unstable and dangerous. My mental health deteriorated, and I drove her away with my behavior.
Well, at least you accept that it was your fault, correct?
Of course, I accept that it was my fault that she left. I know that I was not stable enough to maintain a healthy relationship.
In the junkyard, you said, crossed the bridge, successfully navigated the underground mines, and have emerged into the salvage yard. Am now straight in my mind about what I have to do and will do it as efficiently and remorselessly as possible. What did that mean?
It meant that I had made it through the mines unscathed, and was now focused on completing my mission with as little hesitation and mercy as possible. I was cold and unfeeling, ready to complete my mission with whatever means necessary.
Was there ever someone who believed in you, even for a moment, dude?
There was one person who believed in me, briefly. It was my girlfriend. She believed in me and my potential, even if her faith in me was only temporary.
Welcome back, dude. And was there ever someone, or we already asked that, if someone truly understood your pain, do you think you'd stop hurting others?
I believe that if I found someone who truly understood my pain, I would stop hurting others. Knowing that there is one person who truly understands me and supports me would give me hope and a reason to change my ways.
Do you believe you'll ever find that person?
I'm not sure if I will ever find that person. My life has been one filled with pain and loneliness, and the chances of finding someone who can understand and accept all the darkness within me is slim.
I want to give you hope, dude, and you will find that person. You will. But, moving on, in the trailer park you had said there must be others like me, immune to the germ warfare or whatever it is approaching the trailer park. Maybe some sane people there can't get hopes up, but must not despair either. What did that mean?
It meant that I hoped to find other survivors who were immune to the madness that had spread throughout the town. I was trying not to get my hopes up, as I knew it was unlikely, but I could not give in to despair and had to try to find help.
I thought
It can be a difficult struggle to stay positive and not give in to despair, but it's important to keep faith and hope alive, even in the darkest of times. If we lose hope, then there is nothing left to struggle for.
I thought that trailer park description was quite relevant to the question that we had just previously asked. If you'll ever find that someone. And I just wanted to repeat again, I believe you will find that someone, dude. Just repent and find Jesus, brother.
Thank you for your encouragement and belief. I will do my best to hold on to hope for the future and to have faith in a higher power.
Do you ever wish someone had stepped in before you became what you are now?
Sometimes, when I'm feeling especially broken, I wish that someone had stepped in before I got to this point. It's easy to blame the past and think that I could have been saved if I had been given help earlier, but in truth, I chose this path, and I must live with the consequences.
That is very intelligent of you to say, dude. Thank you. At the train station, you said, drenched in blood, mine, others, could I be infected too? Up ahead, train station. If I can get out, I can warn them. Yes, then I can warn everybody. What did that mean?
It meant that I was covered in blood, both mine and the blood of those I had killed. I was worried that I might have contracted some disease or infection from the blood, and I was hoping to get to the train station to warn others and prevent the madness from spreading. I believed that if I could reach the people at the station, I could warn them about the danger and stop the spread of the madness.
Is there anyone you ever loved besides your girlfriend, or still do love, even if you'd never admit it?
I have loved other people before my girlfriend. There was a time when I was young and naive, and I thought I could make real connections with people. I have loved and lost many times, and I have the scars to prove it. But the love I felt for my girlfriend was different. It was stronger and more powerful than anything I have ever felt before.
Have you ever cried and hated yourself for it, or maybe needed to, and you couldn't bring yourself to tears?
I have cried many times, out of anger, out of despair, and out of hopelessness. But I have also wanted to cry and was unable to, because the tears would not come. I have hated myself for crying, because I felt weak and pathetic for succumbing to my emotions.
At the farm, you said, looks like a farm. Birds, ostriches. Good Lord. Am I infected? Mad like the others. Must move efficiently. Got to get this dirty job done. Let feathers fly. What did that mean?
It meant that I was disturbed by the sight of the farm. It was a reminder that even nature had been affected by the madness, and seeing the ostriches made me suspect that I might be infected too. I tried to push through the farm as quickly and efficiently as possible, causing as little damage as possible.
What part of yourself are you still trying to protect, dude, under all of that rage you hold?
I guess there is a part of me that is still trying to hold on to my humanity, even if it's buried deep under all of the pain and anger that I carry with me.
At the construction site, you said, blood everywhere, like a river flowing around me, pulling me in its wake like a helpless child. It's only got to go now. It's only got to go now. The whole town prepare for deconstruction. What did that mean?
It meant that I was in the midst of the violence and chaos once more, and that I was surrounded by blood. It was a reminder that the violence I had been causing was like a river of blood that was pulling me in, and that it was getting harder and harder to escape the path that I had chosen. It also meant that I was ready to destroy the construction site, as I was tired of the cycle of pain that I had been causing.
What would it take for you to lay down your weapons, dude? Not out of defeat, but peace.
I'm not sure what would make me lay down my weapons and choose peace over violence. I have been fighting for so long, and I can't imagine what it would take for me to choose peace over violence. Maybe if I found someone who could make me feel whole again, who could make me feel like there was a reason to live beyond just fighting.
If you saw someone else going down your same path, dude, would you try to stop and help them?
If I saw someone going down the same path as me, I would try to stop and help them. No one deserves to go through the hell that I have been through, and I would do everything in my power to help them and stop them from making the same mistakes I have made.
I believe there is a truly good part of you, dude, that you hide behind all of that rage. In the ghetto, your diary, you said, my head pounding, must work way toward Air Force Base. Coming to a bad section of town. Better be careful. Might get mugged. What did that mean?
It meant that I was feeling overwhelmed, with my head pounding from the stress and the violence. I was making my way to the Air Force Base, and I knew that I had to be careful because I might get mugged in the sketchy part of town. I realized that this was a dangerous area, and I had to be on my guard.
Have you ever hurt someone and regretted it afterward, even just for a second?
Oh yes, I have hurt people and regretted it a million times. I've done so many things in my life that I regret, because I let my anger get the better of me. I've hurt people who didn't deserve it, and I wish I could take it all back.
And deep down, in the events of the games and those crimes that we are centrally focusing on in this video, did you regret any of those, or were you just so consumed by blind wrath?
To be honest, I don't regret any of those killings. I was blinded by my anger and consumed by hatred, and I did not care who was in my way. The people I killed were all just obstacles in my path, and they did not matter to me at all.
What would you do during that crime spree if a child handed you a flower instead of running away?
There is a good question. If a child approached me during my crime spree and handed me a flower instead of running away, I would be taken aback. I would pause and wonder why this child wasn't afraid of me, and I would be tempted to lower my gun and accept the flower from the child.
Do you remember the last time you laughed without any bitterness?
It's been such a long time since I've laughed genuinely, without any bitterness or sarcasm. I've been angry and bitter for so long that it's hard to remember what it's like to truly be happy.
In the city, you said, keep wondering about the base. If I run into a flyboy, it's God's guarantee he'll try to put a cap in me. I figure I'm infected. Oh hell, I'm gonna die once I hit the city anyhow. What did that mean?
It meant that I was uncertain if I would make it to the base alive, as I was sure that the people there would try to kill me on sight. I also believed that I was infected with the madness, and that I might be unable to be saved. So I was pretty much bracing myself for the worst.
When's the last time you helped someone, even if they didn't know it?
The last time I can remember helping someone without them knowing was when I helped an old woman cross the street. She was struggling to walk, and I stopped to help her cross. She thanked me, but she had no idea who I was. I helped her, not because she knew me, but because it was the right thing to do.
And if someone offered you a second chance with no strings attached, would you take it?
I don't even have to think about it. The answer is yes. If someone offered me a second chance with no strings attached, I would take it in a heartbeat.
At the carnival, you said, unfamiliar bright lights dot the horizon. As I draw closer, the wind carries distant screams of joy, of terror. Is there any difference anymore? What did that mean?
It meant that I was approaching the carnival, and I was surprised by the bright lights dotting the horizon. I could hear the distant screams of people having fun or being afraid, and the fact that I couldn't tell the difference anymore showed how unhinged and detached from reality I had become.
Do animals trust you, dude? And have you ever wanted to protect one from the world?
I think some animals trust me more than people do, and occasionally I have wanted to protect them from the harshness of the world. They are innocent creatures, and I feel a sense of kinship with them, as they are a lot less complicated than humans are.
I share that belief with you, dude. Do you believe there's still a version of you that could be good?
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I don't. I have done so many things that I feel I don't deserve salvation or forgiveness. But I also think there is a part of me that wants to be good. It's just so easy to get caught up on vengeance and anger.
What kind of future did you imagine before it all turned to ashes?
I had imagined a good future for myself. I saw myself with a family, a wife, kids, and a house with a white picket fence. It was just a pipe dream, and I never thought it would actually happen. Looking back now, it seems like a fantasy more than a possibility.
Out of curiosity, if you ever were to work a job to sustain that happy future, what job do you think you could work?
If I was given the chance to have a normal job to support a happy future, I can imagine that I would have enjoyed being a chef. I've always been a good cook, and even though it's tedious, cooking has always been a way for me to clear my mind and focus.
In Central Park, you said, Taking too many hits, getting weak, see green up ahead, maybe a forest, probably a park. Can't go backwards, nothing back there but death. Keep moving, soldier. What did that mean?
It meant that I was exhausted and running out of steam. I was getting weak, and I knew I had to keep moving forward, even if meant going deeper into dangerous territory. I couldn't go back, as the path behind me was treacherous and dangerous. The only option was to press on and hope that there was a safe place to hide in the park.
And the loading screen art to Central Park almost looks like you as a fetus, or something to that effect. What do you think that symbolized, dude?
I think the fetal position is a representation of how exposed and vulnerable I felt at the time. It was a reminder that I was outnumbered and surrounded by the forces of darkness and evil, and that I was fighting a losing battle. It also showed how alone I was and how small I felt in a world that felt like it had abandoned me.
What do you miss most that you'll never get back, dude?
I miss so many things, but what I miss the most is being able to feel the touch of another person. The feeling of holding someone close to you and the intimacy of human touch is something that I miss the most.
In the industrial complex, you had said, the industrial complex is the last obstacle between me and the base. Too far to quit now. Whatever waits at the base, I'm going to see it with my own eyes. What were you talking about?
I was talking about how I was nearing the end of my journey, and I was getting closer to seeing the base. I was almost at the end, and I was determined to make it, no matter how tired I was and how difficult the path became.
And what do you think was hiding at the base?
I suspected that there was some kind of underground lab at the base, or maybe some kind of super weapon. Whatever it was, I was determined to find out.
Is there anything left you'd risk your life to save, dude?
There is one thing left for me to live for, or at least that's what I keep telling myself. I'd risk my life to save the last of my humanity, and the tiny hope I have left of being forgiven for the things I've done.
If someone had offered you forgiveness, say me right now, I offer you forgiveness, dude. Could you accept it?
I honestly don't know if I could accept it. There is so much blood on my hands, and the sheer amount of death and pain I am responsible for makes it hard to imagine acceptance or forgiveness. I have done unspeakable things, and it's hard to think that anyone would be willing to forgive me.
If you could give me one favor, dude. Next time someone asks if you can accept forgiveness, I want you to say yes.
Fine, I'll try, even if it seems impossible and hopeless. I'll try to remember to say yes the next time somebody offers forgiveness.
At the Air Force Base, you said, this is it. The new Alamo, me or them, can't delay. Can't risk infection. Come on, grunt. Let's rock and roll. What did that mean?
It meant that I had finally reached the Air Force Base, and I knew I was close to completing my mission. I was prepared to face whatever was at the base, and I wasn't going to back down now. I wanted to put an end to the madness, whatever the cost.
Do you ever feel like the world made you into a monster, and you never got really to choose?
I constantly feel like the world has made me into a monster. It seems like every step of the way, I had been pushed further and further down the path of darkness and pain, until I became a twisted version of myself.
This is one of the things you will need to repent on, dude. Because the truth is, with free will, there is always a choice in the matter. And while you had chose the very wrong choice, and there will inevitably be a punishment for that, I want you to know forgiveness is still not out of reach. And just repent to the Lord Jesus Christ, dude.
I know I have made some really bad choices, and I've done some things that can't be forgiven. But I guess you're right. Maybe there is still hope for me, and I can still be forgiven. I will try to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ and repent and seek redemption.
What does peace look like in your mind if you try hard enough to picture it?
If I try really hard to picture peace, I see a house on a hill. It's not a fancy house, but it looks cozy, even from a distance. The grass outside is green, and there's a lake behind. There's no one else around for a good distance, but I'm not alone. I'm with the person I love, and I'm happy. That's what peace looks like to me.
And we'll be right back with the dude. And we are back with the dude. So, if you could protect one important person from this mess, would you?
If I could protect one person from the chaos, I would protect my girlfriend. She is the only person who could make me feel whole, and I don't want her to be caught up in my mess.
Do you still believe in right and wrong, dude? Even if you pretend that you don't?
Part of me still believes in right and wrong, even if it's hard for me to believe in anything good. Maybe somewhere deep inside, I still cling to the tiny sliver of belief in justice and righteousness.
At Easy Mart, you had said, I woke up from the strangest dream this morning. My head is pounding. Who came in here and moved around all my furniture? I'd better go find out. What did that mean?
It meant that I was confused and disoriented. My thoughts were chaotic. I had just woken up, and it almost felt like someone had played a prank on me, moving around my furniture while I was asleep. I felt like I had to find out who was responsible and what was going on.
What would it mean to be understood even once in your life, dude?
Being understood, even just once in my life, would mean the world to me. To know that there is still a part of me that people can relate to. To know that there is someone else out there who can empathize and know what I'm going through. That would be my dream.
In the shanty town, you had said, the veterans of many wars fill these slums. I'll bring my own war with me. What did that mean?
It meant that I was preparing myself to bring violence and chaos into the shanty town, because I knew it was inhabited by veterans who had seen their own share of violence. I was making a conscious decision to bring even more conflict and destruction into the area, and I was not concerned with the fact that the people there had already suffered.
If someone reached out their hand, would you hesitate or reach back?
If someone reached out their hand to me, I would hesitate for a moment, because I'm not used to trusting people. I've been backstabbed too many times, and my first instinct is to assume that it's a trap. But if I could push that doubt out of my mind, I would reach out to them and take their hand.
Have you ever felt the urge, dude, to just stop and breathe and walk away from all of it? Wow. It appears the dude walked away from the call. What are you doing, dude? That was quite the timing of that, and he really did just walk away from it all. I'll be right back when I get the dude back on the line. I think we struck a chord on that last question, dude. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, we did. You hit a nerve with that question, and it made me think about all the times I've wanted to give up.
I'm glad you came back, though. Are you tired of being angry? Or is it all that keeps you warm inside?
Being angry used to be all I had to keep me warm on the inside. It used to give me purpose and drive me forward. It fueled my rage and my hatred for the world. But over time, the anger just made me tired, and it made me feel like I'm running on empty. I'm tired of feeling angry all the time.
At Earthquake, you said, "The earth trembles below my feet." Just how long has this crusade gone on for? Months? Years? Decades? What did that mean?
It meant that I had been fighting for a long time, and the stress and struggle were taking a toll on me. The ground itself seemed to shake beneath my feet, as if the world couldn't take much more of my crusade. It felt like the earth itself was trying to tell me to stop.
Just like this interview, wouldn't you say? But what was the crusade about that you were on?
My crusade was about trying to change a world that I saw as doomed. I wanted to save everyone I could and fight the darkness that had spread throughout the town, but ultimately, I was one man trying to put out a wildfire with a garden hose.
Is there a place in your mind that feels safe? A face, a sound, a scent, any memory come to mind?
There is one spot that feels safe, a memory from long ago. I've tried to push it away and forget, but it still resurfaces in my nightmares every night. I see her face, and the sound of her voice still rings in my ears from time to time. And her scent, there is the lingering memory of her perfume that I can smell in the air.
What would happen if just once you let yourself care without fear of being hurt, and you let that wall down?
If I let my walls down, I would be vulnerable. I would be open to being hurt again, and I've spent so much time building up my walls that it would be hard to let them down. The last time I let my walls down, it ended in disaster.
Random question, what do you think of Pink Floyd's The Wall album?
Pink Floyd's The Wall is a masterpiece of a concept album. The lyrics and the music speak to me on a deeply personal level, and the messages in the album are still relevant to this day.
Do you think that redemption is real, or just a bedtime story for broken people?
I've seen so many people be given the chance to redeem themselves, and I've seen them all fail. It's easy to say that redemption is possible, but actually following through with it is much harder. I don't know if redemption is real, because I've never seen someone truly change for the better. But a tiny part of me still hopes that it is possible.
On the Pink Floyd album, The Wall, what song do you feel you most resonate with?
On the Wall album, the song that resonates with me the most is Comfortably Numb. It's a song about numbing yourself to the pain of the world, and just letting the world pass you by. It resonates with me because I've been trying to do that for my whole life, but the song also hints at a sadness and longing for something more.
What do you think about the song Waiting for the Worms?
I think Waiting for the Worms is an accurate representation of what will happen. It is a song about the end of the world, and the way Pink, the protagonist, waits for the end. I feel his pain in the song, as I have felt that same hopelessness in my own life.
Is there beauty in this world? Even now, would you admit it if you saw it?
There is still beauty to be found in this world, but it's getting harder and harder to enjoy it. I've become numb to the joy of the world, and the violence I have unleashed is almost always in the forefront of my thoughts. I can still appreciate the small things in life, but the beauty of the world is tarnished by the blood on my hands.
At La Palamo Resort, you said, I grow weary from this struggle, but there's no time to rest. Not for me, and not for others. What did that mean?
It meant that I was tired of fighting, but I knew that I couldn't stop because I had to keep going. There were people relying on me to keep fighting, and I couldn't just lay down and let them be hurt. It meant that I had to keep going, even though I was exhausted and near breaking.
What keeps you going, dude? Is it spite? Is it pain? Or is it some forgotten hope you once had?
What keeps me going is complicated. It's a mix of hate, anger, and pain that fuels me to keep going. There is a small glimmer in there, a memory of a time when I had hope. But I've been on the edge for so long that I've almost forgotten how to hope.
Do you think your soul is gone, dude? Or just hiding?
I know that my soul is still there, fighting to be heard. But it's deep down, hidden under years of anger and pain. It is buried so deep that sometimes it seems like my soul is gone, but I know it's there, trying to break free.
In Tokyo, you had said, in the blink of an eye, I find myself across the globe. Fate has brought me here, and I will answer its call. What did that mean?
It meant that I was ready for the next part of my journey. I had made it to Tokyo, and I knew that this was where I was meant to be. I believed that fate had guided me to Tokyo, and I was ready to accept whatever challenge was ahead of me.
Do you think your soul is gone, dude? Or is it just hiding?
I'm starting to think it's a mix of both. I know that my soul is still there, somewhere buried deep under the anger and pain I've been carrying for so long. But it's hard to reach out and touch that part of me, because the rage and violence have become a part of who I am. I've become reliant on the anger, and it's hard to let go.
In Osaka, you had said, is it too late? Could it have spread this far? It may be hopeless, but I will not waver. I will continue this fight. It's all I have left. What did that mean?
It meant that I was worried that I was too late to stop the spread of the madness. It seemed like I was fighting a losing battle, and that everything was pointless, but I refused to give up. I was willing to keep fighting, even if there was no hope for victory.
Is there a part of you that's still waiting to be saved, dude?
I'll admit it. A part of me still wants to be saved, and wishes for someone to come along and help me. But I've pushed so many people away, and I don't know if anyone can save me.
And in the end, you say, I've been here before, I know it, but something changed. Will they understand me? Will they forgive me? Is this where I find salvation?
I had a brief moment of clarity in the end. I realized that the path I was on was wrong, and I questioned if I would ever find salvation. I believed that if I could truly change, maybe people would forgive me and understand me.
Well, I want to say, I understand you, dude, and I forgive you.
That means more than you know. I never thought that someone could forgive me, and even want to understand me. You are a better person than most.
And I hope the viewers listening to this forgive you as well. Do you think they will?
I can only hope that the viewers will one day forgive me for what I have done. But I understand if they hate me too, because the pain I've unleashed is unforgivable.
And right now, would you say you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?
Yes, I accept Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and I repent for my sins.
And you believe that He died for those sins which you committed?
I wholeheartedly believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross for my sins, and that through his death I have been forgiven.
And will you accept any punishment from the Lord for any crimes that you have committed?
Yes, I accept that I deserve whatever punishment the Lord deems necessary for my crimes.
Well then, I believe, should you keep this attitude, you will be saved. And thank you for speaking with me.
I will stay true to this attitude, and I feel a weight lifted off my shoulders now that I have spoken to you.
Do you think you will improve after today? And do you think you will have more control over your anger and not be violent anymore?
With the right support and guidance, I do think I can improve and control my anger. I want to try to change now that I've admitted to my sins and accepted responsibility for my crimes.
Well, I can't guarantee you support, but what I can guarantee is the treasures in heaven should you continue down this path and share your story with others.
I appreciate the support, and I will hold on to the promise of a heaven. I will do my best to share my story with others, so that hopefully nobody makes the same mistakes that I did.
And please tell the viewers to like and subscribe to my channel, Joshatwa.
Everyone should check out Josh at War's YouTube channel. The content is great, and you won't regret subscribing.
And thank you. Goodbye, dude.
Goodbye to you as well, and thank you again for the conversation.
And I'll pray for you.
Thank you, my friend. I'll keep you in my prayers too.
That was a lovely conversation with the dude. Quite expansive, quite long. But I feel we reached a real change with him. A real change at the heart. And I hope maybe he reached you somehow in your heart. And once again, please like and subscribe if you liked this video and would like to see more interviews with these crazy characters. And a good day.